Hi there, it's Greg and Gloria, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch, back on the camera again one more time for another delightful tarot show. Do keep your requests coming in via the email address nickdutchtarot@gmail.com. Only serious requests, and these are of course free, completely free tarot readings to appear here in the tarot show with of course myself, Nick Dutch. My life is great at the moment, so I'm having lots of wonderful fun interests and hobbies which are developing for myself. I'm learning about canning, I'm learning about making jams and preserves, which is totally good fun, great fun. And of course I'm expanding my knowledge of the wonderful and magical tarot. Now we got a few requests come in via the YouTube account, funnily enough. Obviously I want to have more of my requests coming through via the email address these days, so if you could try and make sure you sort of like shift your attention onto that, that would be wonderful. But either way, we'll still have a quick look and see what kind of things is coming through. Bear with me a second, please. Okay, now the first inquiry is for a person whose YouTube channel name is Warlock21. Your father has no influence from any negative supernatural entity, okay? He is someone who is sick and needs help. On your side of things, I do not believe that you were cursed from your childhood. There was one particular psychic who told you this was acting very unethically and was being very stupid with you. Do not trust them. Alright, and stop worrying too much about these things, because essentially it's not doing you any good. Okay, Lola Free Live. Let's have a quick look and see what's coming through for you. This is an 8-card relationship reading, using a standard combination of tarot and anything else that comes through. I'm still shuffling like crazy. I've got to try and improve my shuffling technique, because I can get a bit sloppy with that once in a while. So obviously, gotta just try and pick things up bit by bit. Here we go. Let's have a quick look. Alright, now, you know the way it is. There's 2 cards for yourself, 2 cards for your partner, 1 for the force between the 2 of you defining the relationship, and then 3 for short-term, mid-term and long-term future. That's the way it is. So for anyone out there who's learning tarot, build up a system which makes some sense. Okay, gain profitability. This is moving further forward. The whole energy between yourself and this individual is that of developing to a nicer level slowly and surely, but still maintaining a very down-to-earth perspective as to what the future could actually hold. So don't worry too much about the future, but just try and behave the best as you can during your short-term future, okay, because essentially that's what's required right now. Now, on your partner's side of things, their true intentions appear to be towards a good quality, nurturing relationship, and that means giving, spending time with, looking after what you've got, and trying to get progression further forward from that point. Communication is there, yes, with plenty of allusions to love there, but also a sense of repair work and trying to see things clearly. I think that in the earlier stages of your connection there was a bit of blurred vision about each other, okay? I think that's being taken away. The crystal symbolism within the cards themselves is basically suggesting a wiping clean of some kind of glass of illusion, so to speak, so that you can start to understand each other better. So it's coming through maybe with occasional cold moments, but those cold moments are starting to bring about greater wisdom, and that wisdom is starting to help the relationship to blossom. So it's not looking too bad on your side of things. You're prepared to put in the work, which is good. But I think the variety of work you need to put in may need to change. You're very passionately driven, that's okay, but I also feel you need to sort of bring about more of the element of Mercury in your assessment as to what's really happening between yourself and this other individual. The feeling that the reading is giving me is still very optimistic, but the attitude you need to take and the perspective you need to take may need to change just a little. Projection into the future, short-term, mid-term and long-term. The very long-term future signs of victory brought about by struggle. Remember what I was talking about earlier on with the occasional cold moments and the struggle you're going through as you're getting more clarity of vision. But of course a sense of more time together, celebration, very strong cup signs there again. So essentially that can actually work out okay on the basis that you play it right. Okay, so you may need to try and adjust the way in which you perceive this individual and adjust the way in which you perceive the relationship just a little. And that's where the challenge will be, basically. Okay, Susannah D is curious about her career direction. Well, as is traditional, all I can do is tell you what the reading says. So let's have a quick look and see what kind of thoughts, feelings, moods, energies and all the rest is coming out for you today. Bear with me a second, please. Right, so we got a bit of a story which is kind of emerging here, a bit of a sense of development and progress, which is there, if you get my drift, okay? At the moment, yes, you're in a state of turmoil, but basically what you've been looking for is something which very few people have these days, and that's just a basic level of stability, and also knowing that you're moving in the right direction, okay? You've got a purpose. The Knight of Discs is a down-to-earth character, often someone who is well designed to be able to do what it is they need and what they require, and has a sense of a goal being there, okay? I don't think you've got that. I think you need to give yourself goals all over again, and bring about some kind of change of attitude in terms of where you want to go. Part of the turmoil you've got at the moment is because you've tried different things thinking that maybe you could turn them into something good, but it didn't quite work out according to plan. But I think that what you need to do now is to settle down, think about stability, think about maintaining a level of stability, and generating for yourself happiness because you're achieving something, okay, which is in accordance with a particular goal. Sometimes it doesn't matter which vehicle you choose to try and get to where you want to go, but be aware that if you can select the goal and then you get into a vehicle which can then take you to that goal, that may be what you require. If you can maintain the goal at heart, then you won't have too much to worry about. Sure, the goal can change and shift as you get more realistic and practical with the passage of time, but there's still extra wisdom which I'm seeing within this particular reading about you being able to do that. Now, projection further forward into the future, bit of a similar message there, okay? I often see the Ace of Cups as talking about, how shall I put this? Knowing what is the next right thing to do, but not quite willing to do it. But I think that sense of knowledge is very much in your subconscious mind, which is why we've got some cup signs going along with that. It's trying to amplify the existing cup message. Okay, so you know what you really want to achieve. So try and work out what that is. I just feel you've been split up into lots of different pieces. Okay, as if your personality is like being affected negatively. Almost like an identity crisis. You've lost yourself in your search for a career, and that doesn't feel very happy at all. Maybe that's why we got a bit of a sense of some negative energy there, the futility card coming through. But throughout all this like negativity and losing your sense of identity and your sense of presence in the world, the reading is coming out with a strong message of there is still some hope there, because it's moving from this like feeling of not knowing or being torn to pieces, this desire for a particular goal or a particular identity associated with where you're going to go, to knowing it was there all along inside yourself, trying to find out where it is, getting rid of this negativity that's coming through with that sense of futility or lack of knowledge, to the point whereby you become a wise individual. So your experiences are still teaching you. If you can look back and you can try and see where those lessons are coming from, alright, then you can start to see very real benefits from those things and bringing you to the level that you need to get to. So this is partially with your career life, partially with your personal and spiritual development and other aspects of your being. Okay? But if you can see where the lessons are, then you can learn to learn from them. What I found in my case is when I changed my diet and my nutrition and my exercise, I was able to learn much more from my past. So maybe you need to think about looking after your health as well. Maybe that's another part of your path at the moment, so that you can then get that sense of self-identity. It won't come overnight. These things do grow with you. Alright? I mean, if you had spoken to me many years ago, I definitely would not have perceived that my goals would be to be what I am now. But a time of life came in which I decided that, becoming Nick Dutch would basically be what's right for me. And it's provided me with some great rewards. Okay, here we go. Samantha has come on board, wanting a reading about her love life. Let's see basically what's coming on through here for you, Samantha, today. Standard 8-card relationship reading, here we go. Right, because it's only between yourself and this one other individual. Let's get a kind of like an impression as to what's really going on here. Force between the two of you, talking about strength and stability. Okay, this is, earth signs are often to do with the practical, they're often to do with the rational and the very real, okay? So this is a very real connection. This is someone who's got some real importance for you at this particular juncture in your life. This is someone who's dedicated to the long haul, but I feel some of the emotion is missing. So it's like they're approaching you from a very business-like perspective, seeing that you've got certain kinds of attributes that they want to have in their particular partner in the future, but they're not really thinking about this from an emotional standpoint, and I think that's causing you a few issues. I mean, on your side of the reading, we've got signs here which are not looking too happy. I mean, that's a sense of defeat or being emotionally defeated in this particular case, because it's also connected to signs of healing. Now, you wanted to get into this relationship for the purposes of doing him some good and starting to bring this further forward. So essentially, on your side of things, can we really say that there is love there? He didn't come into the relationship for love purposes. He came in for business purposes, knowing that you've got some kind of like intellectual and emotional attributes that he wanted. You came into this because you wanted to heal him. So my question to you is, did you really love him? Okay, his energy towards yourself right now is much more to do with trying to get a bit more perspective, yes, and also trying to be in charge, because he wants to make sure this whole relationship goes according to plan from his point of view. He doesn't have that 50-50 perspective, but I think he's going to have to develop that when he starts being disappointed in his own right. Progression into the future, very long-term future, still looking very good, but there's some pain on the way, a bit of a sense of negativity combined or coupled with the communication signs we've got there, and a bit more of a sense of conflict first. So your short and mid-term future are not going to be the most pleasant in the whole wide world, but on the other hand, there's still a feeling of there being some kind of progression there, so you don't need to be too concerned. Right, Jack, you've got an inquiry about your career. You work in the IT sector. A lot of people who work in IT come to me, okay, for some reason. I don't quite know why. Maybe it's just because I'm on the internet, who knows. Let's have a quick look and see what's coming through for yourself as far as like changes and progression is concerned. You asked about a promotion. Let's see whether we've got signs relating to that promotion for you. I may have to give you a bit of a negative answer here, okay? I don't always give positive answers to my inquiries. You know, my inquiries, all I do is tell you what I can see. That's my job, okay? Starting from the top, what do you got there? Come on, you can tell me, you know what it is already. Sense of defensiveness, okay? You're in a corporate environment, there's lots of people who are after your position. The feeling there is that of anxiety and a need to try and get the right level of perspective so that you can survive. And it's just a question of survival. You are always very happy with the job itself. You're in the right industry for yourself. You're not in the right environment for yourself. Now, the organization feels to me to be quite large. Okay, it's quite a substantial company. And it's one of these ones based in the UK, and it's around, you know, the southeast area. Okay, so you've got some problems in your sector, and whatever sector of IT it is, there's some problems with it. And I get the feeling there could be some mass redundancies. If we look at the colours and the textures associated with all the rest of the cards and signs there, basically what is the feeling? I mean, the very end there, we're talking about failure, which possibly means you're going to lose your job. Alright, I don't want to have to turn around to you and give you something negative. I want to try and provide you with something positive, or at least give you some kind of insight as to how to overcome the difficulties. Now, if we move further forward into like your mid-term future or the early mid-term future, the worry and anxiety is there. The desire to try and create for yourself a new future is there as well. Now, is that part of the problem? Are you being too ambitious at this stage? Is it more a question of trying to hold on to what you've got right now, rather than trying to create too much in the way of change and progress for yourself? Because you're amongst such a difficult and competitive environment. Do you want to rock the boat too much, basically? That's something to think about. Now, further on down the line, struggle and strife, trying to get the right balance between, you know, seeing people in the right way and so on and so forth. But struggle and strife is still very apparent there. There's something going wrong, and you're going to have to do something about that. And then, of course, you've got the possibility of failure. Now, all forms of prophecy, and I want to caution you and everybody else out there about this, prophecy is about probability. It's not about hard and fast certainty. This gives you an indication, taking into account the energies, in inverted commas, okay, as to what's really going on through your life at the moment. That's the hypothesis behind it, and it's hypothetical at best, I know, but essentially that's the hypothesis behind it. And the sense of progression is... It could be negative in your particular case. What is it that you're doing wrong? In what way are you addressing these people incorrectly? In what way are you dealing with the problem of being in the workplace with these people? What's going wrong there? Think about these things, okay? My impression is that you are a very driven individual. You want success. You obviously want to look after, you know, your partner. You want to look after your house. You want to think about children for the future. And so, yes, you want to earn good money. But you can't earn good money if you lose your job. And what if that ends up on your CV or resume, okay? Because essentially that won't look necessarily all that good for the next application that you go through. So again, something else to be aware of. For the long-term game plan, if you want to have good money, you may have to become a little less ambitious in order to be more ambitious, if you get my drift. Okay, Laurie, you've got problems in your marriage. And you've told me why. Yeah, I can see that that would be causing a few problems. But on the other hand, I think you can find a way through it. I do think you can find a way through it. But let's see what the reading says. My job here is just to tell you what I can see. Some people get rather dissatisfied by that and say that I should be doing more. Well, basically no. I mean, I tell you what I see. That's basically the job. See where we can go, basically. Okay. Right. He's skeptical. Alright, this is why we've got the Hanged Man card. It talks about betrayal, it talks about fear. So he's skeptical, and he's been trying to adjust to someone's requirements somehow. But he's been finding that very difficult to do. On your side of things, on the other hand, you've been satisfied with him. You wanted to get more out of this, basically. That's essentially one of the things that the reading is talking about. The energy for the force between the two of you is talking about progression, yes, but that's progression that you won't be happy about. Okay, please forgive the flickering light on my face. We've got a very blustery day and the sun's coming through the trees there. But I mean, there is a good feeling of there being healing there. But the Valor sign that we got there, coming through very strongly with the Seven of Staves, is a martial card. Okay, that means conflict. That means warfare between yourself and your partner. And when there's warfare, things aren't always as happy as you'd like them to be. Or that's as much as I'm prepared to say there, but essentially it's not feeling good in the here and now. And it's again a question of changing your attitudes within your marriage. Now, moving further forward, no signs of destruction. You're going to find a way. It's going to be uncomfortable in the short-term future. You're going to artificially generate some level of romance. Okay, the Moon card deals with romance and uncovering things that were hidden. And in this particular case, the things that were hidden was essentially the quantity of love he really had for you after all this time. So awareness of that would be very, very positive for both of you. Okay. But essentially, further on from that, there may be some interference from a previous relationship partner, but that won't be going on for too much longer into the future. So it still looks very happy. Okay, Elizabeth, you're curious about your house move and want to make sure that that's going to go according to plan. Let's have a quick look and see what the tarot says about that. Stressful, but with some results. Okay, yes, there is a bit of a feeling that something could get in the way and could possibly take away from you the feeling of success you actually want to get from getting the house move sorted out according to plan. But if it was totally negative, there wouldn't be signs relating to a feeling of happiness and success there. Sorry, a bit too much sunlight on the card there. I think you can see that. Okay, the Queen of Cups is the way you're being portrayed. Okay, the way you've been previously prior to this house move. There's reasons for this house move. Okay. There we go. I don't know whether you can see that there. A bit too much sunlight again. Either way, that's the Queen of Swords. And that means a bit of hatred, a bit of anger, a bit of violence coming from yourself. Okay, it's not going to yourself, it's coming from yourself, because previously it was coming to yourself. It was a bad area, all the rest of that kind of jazz. But then all of a sudden you go towards serenity, tranquility, that real sense of happiness that can only come about when you're definitely in the right place at the right time and you feel good about yourself. Okay. So generally speaking, that's looking okay. Two of Cups, absolutely tremendous. That is talking about transition as well as the happiness aspects, okay. And then, great signs relating to satisfaction and knowledge that you're in the right place at the right time, coming through with the Universe card, okay. That is going to happen. It's just going to feel a bit difficult, as it often does when you're doing a house move. Okay, just a very, very quick one. Okay, I don't read upon medical matters, pregnancy or childbirth, ever under any circumstances. Alright, be aware of that. Okay, I love this type of inquiry because, I've been self-employed myself. I know what it feels like. Okay, I've got the wisdom there. In fact, a lot of my customers, a lot of my inquirers have got PhDs, or they're working in some pretty high-level positions. These aren't, people who are homeless or on the streets, or what you might call the underclass type people. These are qualified, educated, erudite, civilized individuals who have got a real interest in spirituality and creating change and basically having a conversation which can actually do them some good. But today, it's someone from self-employment. So I'll have a quick look, but you're also in accountancy. Let's see what your reading says. Yeah, you're going to be okay, but I think it's going to be hard. It's not a question of expanding your business, it's more a question of contracting your business. You know there's even more work to be done there, coming through with the Three of Coins. But essentially the energy that you need to start thinking about is that of balance and harmony, bringing back things which have been causing you problems in the past, making sure that you're maintaining your position. Alright, you need to maintain your position through cutting out the deadwood, and that's a deadwood within your own life, and within all the things you want to try and bring into the business in the first place, which isn't really doing it all that much in the way of goodness, okay? There's some good feelings of healing associated with the way things are going to go for you longer term, so essentially again I'm not too worried, but that's in the long term future. Your business is going to do well, but right now you've got to go real small. You've got too many overheads. Those overheads are really hurting the business. You need to think about cutting those back, working harder on the marketing, turning it into a growth business, and not something which is just going to hold you back, okay? Hello, Stephen. Yeah, I used to know you many years ago. It's great to hear from you. Absolutely wonderful to get this inquiry from you today. And you're thinking about your spiritual path and the way it's been emerging. Let's have a quick look and see what's coming through for you today, and see whether you're on the right track. Okay. I think in this particular case I'm going to have to give you a bit of a negative there, okay? Signs of worry and anxiety coming through quite strongly there. I don't know whether you're actually in the right place at the moment for yourself. Maybe you actually need to explore different ideas, or explore this from a different intellectual point of view, because you appear to be like holding yourself back. Your level of analysis is not really all that strong. The intellectual signs there are basically reversed. We can't really see the cards with too much sunlight on them, can you? There you go, that came through, not quite the right way round. So it's a question of strife and struggle which have been internal, which drove you to where you are now. And so I can understand that and empathise with that, but on the other hand, is it necessarily right for you in the long term and in the bigger picture? It's just a question of trying to create change for yourself, okay? You need to get something a little more wise and miraculous entering into your life in order to bring about the success and achievement within your own spirituality. I know you've been after psychic power, but maybe psychic power is not actually right for you at the moment. Maybe you actually need to think more about, the more intellectual, spiritual side of things, rather than just a question of the acquisition of power and might right now. So be a bit savvy there, okay? Because you can try and turn what you've become into something which can be useful, but in order to do that, you've got to have a bit of a change of attitude. And if you can do that, then I think you will have even more happiness in the long term. But you've got to try and move away from all these ways in which you've been encouraged to think by certain people who are basically quite wrong for you in many different ways. Hey Nick, it's always good to have someone who's got the same name as me and making an inquiry. Alright, you work in medicine. Great, it's always good to come across people who heal the sick. Let's see how your career is going to go. Bear with me a second, please. Yeah, you're going to be quite stable. There's a good sense of things working out nicely there for you. I'll quickly show you the cards. Bear with me a second. Okay, healing signs abound there. We've got the sign of success there. Bit of a change of direction, but that's not too much of a problem for you because there's still pleasure in what you're doing. That does speak about consistency at times, okay? And in this particular combination with signs of success and achievement there, and a sense of passion and willpower, I think that's keeping you moving further forward. The business goes towards other people, so that's not really something which is dominating you right now, but there may be some minor changes in your department. So essentially carry on doing the good work, because that's what you're doing. You're doing good work, and there's no real sense of total negativity. There's always going to be some chaos, especially in an economy like this one. So just be prepared, be aware, but don't worry. Okay, absolutely brilliant. Now, let's have a quick look and see what else is coming through for you. Alright, that was your final question, wasn't it, about your relationship life? That's going to improve. You don't have to worry too much about that in the here and now. Those signs were suggesting healing and abundance. Hello Michael, you do have a bit of an adventure for yourself, okay? Going sailing, obviously that's a great thing, sailing up and sailing, people talk about that rather a lot. Let's have a quick look and see what the reading says about how much fun you're going to have there. Will it be successful and enjoyable? Right. Okay, apart from the time when you are preparing, preparing the journey, which seems like a bit difficult. So the most part, the energy there is about taking wisdom from a different variety of sources of information to try and bring things back to happiness, just happiness. Okay, we do have signs of joy and pleasure there for you within the reading, so I wouldn't be too worried. Okay, remember to use your manual skills properly. Yeah, I think you're going to enjoy it. Nothing for you to worry about there. Okay, that's all the readings for today. If you want to get your reading request in, send it through by email to nickdutchtarot@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to add you to the rota. Remember, a tarot reading is an entertainment service. That's the way it should be perceived, to stop you from taking things too seriously. You know, it's called an entertainment service for good, common sense, intellectual reasons. But some people do claim to get some real insight and benefit from it, and that's absolutely wonderful. Okay, it is good when I can actually help people through conversations. If you want to get on the phone, there's links down there, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Speak to you in a while.